Let's do some power rankings of animals that you don't want to with in Zimbabwe.
Number one, hippo. Number one, by far, clear, by far.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
And guess what? This dude chose that, that is the one I am going to be the one. That's the one I want to with.
Hey, how are you? Welcome back to Drop a Pin. Today we have Jataida Chamedza on the pod.
That was pretty good.
A.K.A. the Midget Zimbo. A.K.A. Za.
Yes.
A.K.A. Za. Yeah.
Yes.
Probably should have just gone with that.
There it is.
That was a great introduction, though.
Yeah. For sure. I know how to pronounce his name because I spent 10 days in Zimbabwe with Za, and I just heard his mom say the name all the time. Jataida.
I thought it was a little more than that.
It may have been. It may have been
14.
14 days.
14 days.
Yeah.
About that.
And it was like once you got hired at the company, I was always the abroad guy, and I think one time we pitched the idea, and people were like, "That would be incredible if you guys just filmed a travel series out there." And finally, it came to fruition. I gave the sales team like 3 years notice to sell it. I was like, we are going to do this. I'm sure you can sell it. Come on. They did not manage to sell it, but shout out Portnoy for approving the trip nonetheless. And
I mean, it wasn't too expensive too, right? Because
it wasn't too bad because Za has a is it a cousin-in-law?
My cousin, yeah.
A cousin-in-law who was our safari tour operator.
Nice.
So safaris can be super expensive in Africa, but we took the budget route. So his cousin just rented a car and drove us into the game parks. And then in these game parks, they've got some crazy fancy resorts, which I don't know, will run you like $2,000 a night. But we just kind of rented our own little cabin and posted up. And you're right in the middle of the game park. So at night, you're hearing hippos that come out on land.
Right up by your tent.
We had a giant elephant just walk up to our tent and just started picking branches off the tree.
You were trying to run up and keep up with it. I was like, Donnie, what the fuck are you doing?
I had to get the shot. You have the right of way. This is your homeland. I'm just a tourist. I had to get the shot. So we'll talk about everything we saw on those game drives. But first up, a very crazy fact that I learned when I arrived at Za's house. My dad and his mom went to the same college.
What? Same time period?
Very close. I think they were
Similar,
4 or 5 years apart. So maybe my dad was a senior when his mom was a freshman.
Yeah. Where at?
Clark University in Worcester, Mass.
Jeez, what a crazy coincidence.
Yes. So your mom did your mom grow up in Zimbabwe and then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So both my parents born and raised in Zim. So in Worcester, my mom was doing, I think it was the first of her master's degrees. I believe she has 2 of them.
Okay.
And the first one was at Worcester at Clark.
Yeah.
Then her second one was she's very smart. Second one was at Oxford.
Yeah. Does your mom work for the World Bank or?
She did some work for a bunch of these NGOs, the World Bank, USAID, RIP, RIP, USAID, a bunch of the
yeah.
the
No,
NGOs,
she's a very smart woman, very nice, and makes one hell of a hot sauce. When we were there, she just had these giant jars of hot sauce in her fridge, and then when I was flying back to the U.S., I think she gave me 4 jars to bring with me back to China because I think I flew Zimbabwe to China and
Weren't you going? You going to India after Zim? Weren't you? You were meant to go to India.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. No, I went to Zimbabwe. I went to India after the Barstool trip. But my wife thanks your mom for that hot sauce because she loved it as well.
I'll ask her to send some more.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And then your dad just lived in Zimbabwe the whole time. Did your dad ever live abroad?
Yeah, so my dad was born and raised in Zim. My dad's a doctor. He practiced. He trained in Zambia. He spent some time in Zambia. He also spent some time in North London, which is why we're Arsenal fans.
Ah, all right.
He spent some time. I think that was in the 70s. They spent a couple years. I think that was when my mom was here. and he was there. And then he also spent some time in Ghana. That's when my brother was born. My brother was born in Georgetown, Ghana. Guyana in the Caribbean.
Oh, Guyana.
South America.
Okay, so
right off the coast, next to Venezuela.
All right. Wow.
Next to
That's cool.
Venezuela,
Yeah. And your dad is also a super friendly guy. Very good at golf, right? Wasn't he like
yeah. Natural talent. They did him practice at the peak of his powers. If I remember correctly, he was he would play like once a week. Peak of his powers. He's like a 5 or 4 handicap.
Okay.
And he never practiced, but
Yeah.
loves golf. Still plays till this day.
Used to love red meat, but then he got gout.
Gout.
So
The rich man's disease.
Shout out large. Yeah, large too.
yeah.
The rich
Damn.
man's disease.
I thought I had gout at one point because I think one of the symptoms is like pain in your toes. And I don't know. I just woke up and I had painful toes for like a week. But I think it was a circulation issue
Yeah.
and not gout. But we had a blast. So thank you for welcoming me into your home.
They loved
it was
you.
me and
they ask every time I call home. They ask about you guys. So they loved you guys, and very easy too. They were very nervous about the food situation. If you guys are gonna be very picky and all that. My mom was having sleepless nights for like the month or so before we pulled up. But you guys ate everything, and they loved you. They want you guys back.
One of my favorite foods, and you've probably had this growing up in the South, but chicken gizzards. Mm-hmm. So I had never really eaten the gizzard before, but Zah's family prepared some, and it was a delight.
How do you prepare it?
You kind of fry it with some, throwing some onions, tomato. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
It's exactly really, the same way we do it. Yeah,
one of my favorites. You guys do catfish too, right? In the
yep.
South?
Mm-hmm.
Fried catfish. I'm not a fan.
A little bit of cornmeal.
Do you guys do catfish in Zimbabwe?
I'm not a fan. We do big time. My parents love it. But
I'm not a fan of catfish either, fried, but I don't mind it when it's blackened on like a po' boy.
It's like chewy.
It's greasy.
It's like chewy. It's like
oily.
It throws me off, man.
A crazy thing I found out when I got to Zimbabwe is that Zah's parents, maybe they do now, but at the time they didn't really have any idea what he did for work. They knew he had found a job at this company. Maybe they knew the name of the company, but I don't think they had the faintest clue about what Barstool Sports was.
Yeah, so we're in a situation where I control at the beginning, I controlled the flow of information that got home because, as you saw, they're older, less technologically advanced and all. My mom just barely learned how to send a text message like 5 years ago kind of thing. Yeah. So, and figuring out how to find Barstool Sports on the internet is like the last thing on her mind.
Yeah.
But now, unfortunately, because the younger cousins, so I don't know if you met, one of my younger cousins is staying at home and all that. He's the one that, checks in, sees a clip, shows my dad and stuff like that. So each time I call home now, he's like, "Oh, I saw you this, that." I'm actually worried that I'm hoping that they didn't see the KB's wild situation.
Yeah, because you've been hammered on camera multiple times.
We'll find out this weekend if they saw the KB's wild situation. I was so wasted out. And I hope they don't watch this. I was so wasted last weekend recovering from that I forgot to call last weekend. So I haven't called home in more than a week.
I got so wasted when I was in Zimbabwe visiting you, and I feel pretty bad about this. Hopefully your dad does not listen to the podcast, but we stayed. Your dad had a spot in the far, I don't know, west of the country.
It was the Eastern Highlands.
The Eastern Highlands, a beautiful part of Zimbabwe. And we turned up. We were drinking Zimbabwe whiskey and this stuff, Amarula, which I think it's it's definitely an African drink. Maybe it's from South Africa. It's kind of like Bailey's. It's a creamy liqueur,
exactly
but
what it is.
But
it's
made
of the Bailey's.
It's made with the fruit from the Amarula tree.
The marula, the marula.
Yeah. So I was just pouring
What's
whiskey.
a marula? I'm not familiar with that.
It's pretty much the cousin of the Bailey's. We make it from it's called the marula tree. Marula. One of those ones right there. They're native from our part of the world. So that the fruit falls off the tree, ferment that thing, and make some good ass liqueur, pretty much.
Yeah. But the problem is, so that's a liqueur in its own right. I was just pouring whiskey into that. So I was making Amarula whiskeys. So just booze and booze cocktails.
Nice.
And yeah, at some point I black out. And one of the few times I've done this, I had both pissed the bed and also puked the bed. Both at the same time. And this is in like Zah's dad's vacation home.
That was funny.
So I think I found the washing machine immediately. So
We
started to do some laundry.
We tipped and we also made sure I tipped the guy, the groundskeeper that stayed before we leave. But we had a fantastic time, man.
We had a blast.
Good, so you gotta come out.
I would love to.
You gotta come out because you're a traveler, right? Yeah, because you through the military and all. So
It's been a while. I'm actually looking forward to. We're doing Mexico City soon.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that.
Oof, that's like.
Yeah, having kids can definitely slow down how much you can travel.
For sure.
For sure. So how much on this pod can we talk about politics? Because I'm not.
Ask whatever. I'll answer as many as much and as well as I can.
Okay.
You can ask whatever you want.
So I think a very eye-opening thing about Zimbabwe, obviously Za's parents are, well off. His mom is like very well educated. His dad's a doctor. But like still, when you're in Zimbabwe, the electricity would turn off most days from around like 9 a.m. and then it would turn back on at 9 p.m. Luckily, they could afford a generator in their garage that they would turn on and like use sometimes. But I think that just goes to show you some of the corruption there, because like Zimbabwe has tons of natural resources and stuff. And like during the day we would drive and you could see there's one like super wealthy area of the city. And it was just like all of the people who are boys with the politicians, and like they could get electricity whenever they wanted.
Yeah.
But even the upper class there, if you're not, if you don't have those connections with the government, they're just going to like shut it off during the day and conserve it for all the people that are, high up in the government.
I mean the time, and also the time that we went was pretty. It was a delicate time because we went just after
Mugabe.
Just after Mugabe had fallen.
You're right.
Just after Mugabe had fallen, everybody was hopeful. Everybody was hopeful that there was going to be change, and that change was going to come. People waited a little bit. It didn't seem like it was coming, and then that's when we went. So I think we went down in 2019, if I remember correctly.
Or maybe
2019.
Yeah, maybe
It was just
2019, because
before
I remember
COVID.
when we started to put out the videos, that's when people were like talking about, oh, there's this thing called COVID out in China.
Yeah. And if we just waited like a month, I remember if we just waited a month or two to drop it, it would have been like in the middle of COVID and hopefully ended up like Joe Exotic and we've been living on the beach, but alas. But we went at a delicate time, and it's, I mean, that's third world. That's third world, man. The third world, it's, the what makes the third world is the gap between, there's no middle class. It's either you're rich or you're poor, and that gap between rich and poor is just massive.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, to the main way to get rich into that rich class in the third world, you got to be, unless you're lucky, so like in my instance, my parents worked for outside organizations and stuff like that, which those opportunities, there's only one USAID office. It's not like there's a billion of them to employ the whole country, so you're fighting for that one thing. So you got to be lucky to get those jobs. Otherwise, if you want to make money back home, you got to be shaking hands and kissing babies with the wrong kind of crew, man. Which is why I'm here. I'm here and trying to stay here because I'm not cut from that kind of cloth.
Was that something that your parents encouraged you to look for opportunities in Europe or the United States?
Yeah. So I'm fortunate enough, as Donnie alluded to a little earlier, that I pretty much won the genetic lottery. So I got to grow up in Zim. I attribute that to, if I didn't grow up in the circumstances that I grew up in, I would like to think I can pretty much survive anywhere now. I'm equipped to survive anywhere on this planet, bearing any language. Like, you'll learn language and all that. And fortunate enough to see that. And not many are fortunate enough in my instance, in a situation like me, where you get the opportunity to, to get out and, and leave and try stay out. Most that get out will get out through asylum ways, and it's not a way, because it's not a way to be living and all that. But so, yeah, no, the luckiest dude on the planet, man. Got to see grow up in that environment, and then come here, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so we were there right after Robert Mugabe was replaced. And for how many years was Mugabe in power?
So he was our first president. Mugabe was from independence till 2017. So if my math serves me well, that's 37, right?
Yeah, or something. And I think he was 93
he was 90,
something when
when he was deposed, he was 90 or 91. 91, 92. When he died, he was 94. So he died a couple years later.
Okay.
A couple years later in the hospital, and that's a messed up thing, right? We got all the resources on the planet. The president of the country then goes and he dies in the hospital in Singapore, not on his homeland.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, because they not to get too into the weeds of it, they because of things that messed up.
Yeah.
They don't.
And who replaced Mugabe? Wasn't it kind of like his second in command, or someone who was also high up in his government?
Yes. Okay. So he was the vice president at the time that Mugabe was deposed. He had to go into South Africa.
Yeah, it was
the one that
bloodless coup.
Bloodless coup, and he was the orchestrator of it, pretty much. So he had to go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bloodless because you're pointing a gun. You're pointing a gun at a frail 93-year-old man, and the entire country at that point had enough. So he had lost literally the entire barracks.
Yep.
So it's bloodless in that situation. So
I'm sure when he first came to power, because he helped Zimbabwe gain its independence, right? So he was probably well liked at first, but then
you could tell the look on sounds like that's a loaded statement.
That's the one where if you read a history book, because what happens is if you're a good dictator, what you do is you rewrite history.
Yes, yeah.
Right, if you're good, so that's certain elements of that have been done. So he came. So the Mugabe thing, which I probably should not be saying, but whatever, he came at the end. He came at the. He was the. So what happened was, they needed a figure at the time. The guy that was actually meant to lead, the head of the party at the time, Chitepo, was killed in a car bomb. Was killed in the car bomb, I think, in 1973, 74, of which my dad was in that convoy.
Holy
shit. Couple cars behind. He was through the foul play, of course.
Yeah.
By the faction that wanted Mugabe to come up. Then Mugabe was they were scrambling for a leader. It's kind of like what happened with the Democratic Party this last election, where you've got a guy, right? That guy is taken out, so he was assassinated. The guy that was there was taken out, Biden.
Yes.
In this case, it was the Democratic leader.
Yeah.
The Chitepo was taken out. We still got to run an election very soon. We need a leader. Quick. We scramble. You don't run no processes, no whatever. Boom! All of a sudden, what's his name? Mugabe came through the back door, and he ended up at the top, kind of like Kamala did with the
Mugabe and Kamala Harris have a lot in common. I've always said that.
It's not necessarily, but it's a parallel that I use
I can see
in
what
this
you're
instance,
saying,
so that you guys can somewhat relate. It's not
you need to have somebody that steps up, because we got to have somebody now, like your backup quarterback.
Exactly.
Like that was the backup quarterback. How is he remembered now in the country? You have a few years in between death and now.
So here's the thing: the message at independence was phenomenal. The message behind the entire struggle, and the message at independence was awesome. It's just over time. I mean, the promises weren't kept. I don't know what was led, what was the reasoning and all. For the promises weren't kept. However, if you're a normal civilian, you're looking and you're seeing that we were promised a good life. We were promised this. We didn't get that. But the guys that promised us the good life, they're the ones that are living where Donnie alluded to a little earlier, in the nicer areas. So you're seeing this kind of stuff, and you're like, you know what? Now the economy is, falling apart because now their policies that they're implementing, a major swing in our situation was our land reform program, which
Should we do like just a really quick crash course on Zimbabwe history?
I would love that. I don't know shit about it, so
How long-winded do you want me to be? Stop. If I'm going out, please. So I love Zim. I love talking about it. If I'm getting too long-winded, don't feel afraid. Cut me
You
off,
got the
please.
floor, my man.
We can do like a quick Spark Notes version, just because like to explain what the land reforms was, you have to explain the history.
Yes. Okay.
Of
So
the country.
You go back to get a full understanding of the land reform. You got to go back to
Great Zimbabwe,
before
way back
exactly
in the
the
day,
Great
yeah.
Zimbabwe times. I was even thinking about the Berlin Conference, but that's when Africa was divided.
Yeah.
But just before that, when the first explorers came, the native people, our people were there. First explorers came. They were the Christian missionaries.
Yep.
So depending on the part, the West Africa, they were spreading Islam.
Yeah.
Down by us, it was Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
So how they colonized? So of course, Africa was cut up at the Berlin Conference.
Yep.
The French powers, the British Empire cut it up.
Yep.
Spain was involved, Portugal with Angola and them. You get the countries. So each country was divided in such a way that if they had done it properly, you could draw borders in such a way that, all right, this one tribe lives together, 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 and everybody lives in harmony. That's not how you do it. What you want, if you're a minority, if you don't have the numbers, physical numbers, not money or gun power, but physical manpower, what you want is you get half of this tribe living with half of this tribe so that they do the fighting amongst themselves, then they don't focus on you.
Yeah.
That's how Africa was divided.
Yes.
Each country in Africa will have two major tribes, right? And then so through that, and how the British then, contrary to the French colonized from Paris. You just sent the tax revenues back to Paris. The British did it a little different. They hated England. If you go to England, it sucks. It's gray. It's always rainy. The weather is miserable. It's cold. If you come down to places like Zimbabwe, the weather is incredible. The coldest winter day for the city that I'm from in Fahrenheit will be like a freezing cold winter day would be 40 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
That's nothing compared to Chicago's minus 20, minus 20,
Yeah,
minus
yeah.
30s. Hottest summer day is like a 90-degree day with no humidity.
Yeah.
Beautiful weather.
That's
So the
fucking
British,
amazing, yeah.
there it is, which is why the British did it a little different. They came and they lived amongst us.
Mm-hmm.
They came and they lived amongst us. So that's where the land reform story starts, is them coming to live amongst us.
Yeah.
Education-wise, they're a bit more educated. They know what was going on. They know what's fertile. They know what's that. So as they're giving us Bibles, my people Bibles, they're taking all the fertile land, and all that we're exchanging, Then you get to a situation along the lines where people get conscience, and they're like, listen, this is our native land.
Yeah.
This is our native land, but we don't own any of the actual land that has the minerals, the minerals or the fruitful or the fertile soil and all that. So it's our land, but our great grandfathers and all that, they did bad deals.
Yeah.
Bad deals, giving them that land in exchange for pretty much nothing. So that's the idea behind the land reform programs, is that's what they're trying to correct in saying, look, listen, the main idea is the land has to go back into the natives,
So-
Yeah.
natives' hands.
So forgive me if this is wrong way to phrase it, but is it sort of like
Fire away.
reparation?
What's up?
Is it sort of like reparations?
So how it's done. So the idea is the land has to go back into the natives.
Yeah.
How it's done is then differs.
Yeah.
Is then what differs. Where some are saying, hey, let's compensate. Some are saying, hey, let's compensate. And then others are saying, but this was our land. They gave us a book for our land.
Yeah.
Hell no, there's no compensation, which is the main fight that's going on now in the talk that's going on in South Africa.
So a little bit different than reservation
In
style.
South Africa.
Was that?
Where you're pushed. So when they came, they pushed us. So they pushed us off the fertile land and pushed us into the reservations. If you went, you came to my rural home.
Yeah.
You saw how dusty it was.
Yeah.
That's the kind of lands that the people were pushed onto.
Yeah,
Actually, in our language, we called our rural home. We called it Ruzeva from that word.
Yeah, so-
from the
Reservation?
from the English word reservation. Yeah.
So when Zimbabwe was a British colony, it was called Rhodesia,
Rhodesia.
right? And
Yes, sir.
so that was named after Cecil Rhodes, who is
The explorer,
the
that
British
Also,
guy
I just
that
want to
found
say
there.
colonized
we're doing
the-
this podcast with a Rhodesian Ridgeback.
Ridgeback,
And
yep,
Oh,
yep,
So
yep.
he
He's a Rhodesian?
he disavows. he
Yeah.
disavows Rhodesia.
Jeez, I did not know because
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Rhodesian Ridgebacks.
Yeah,
at
no,
that
Yeah,
point.
so-
that's him. Yeah.
So fast forward a little bit
Yeah.
to 2000. Fast forward a little bit to the year. So ours started in our land reform program started in 97, 98, right?
Yeah.
And then it's so because this is a generational problem. This started in
I think
1890s.
I think it was one of the first things that Mugabe kind of did when it went
It's the
from
first thing
Rhodesia
first
to
thing
Zimbabwe.
he promised. First thing he
Yeah.
promised. It then was kicked off.
Yeah.
It started happening in 1997.
Okay, yeah.
So that
I
was
have
his
no
that was
idea.
his first main and big promise.
Yeah.
And that's where people were like, why is this not happening? Then it started happening in 97.
Yeah.
However, right, these guys, this is a generational problem, right? This
Yeah.
problem originated in the 1800s. We're in 1998, right?
Yeah.
So the people that are living now weren't really, they're offsprings of that kind of problem. So it's like, these are white Zimbabweans that are born and raised and have lived
Therefore.
Zimbabwe is literally all they know. Then all of a sudden, overnight, depending on how at the time, you get the extreme right wing. So
Yeah.
amongst the people, you get the people with extreme opinions. There were some telling them leave within a week. It's like, bro, there's been generationals of these people
On these
they've been-
farms and stuff. Yeah.
But they leave within a week because that's how they did it too. You put the farmhouse right over where like the gold or the minerals are,
Okay, yeah.
so that you're protecting.
And
them
then I
there.
think a big problem was because they did it overnight, just all of a sudden they were like, okay, we're taking all of these farms, all of these lands from the white settlers, and we're going to give them back to the actual Zimbabweans, that like the native Zimbabweans. But they did it so fast that like the native Zimbabweans, they never really trained them how to like farm the land correctly.
because that's how you colonize. If
Yeah.
I had educated you, I need. So at the time, that's the thing. So during colonization, you segregate people. Mm-hmm. Black people were only allowed to go to black schools. They were only allowed to hang out in black bars. They were only allowed to use bathroom designated for black people. You don't mix,
Yeah.
right? So you control the flow of information in both groups. You know exactly what this group knows. You know exactly what this group knows. You know that these motherfuckers don't know what they're doing when it comes to like mining, farming, and all that. So that at that one point, that eventually, because there's more of them, that one point when it eventually comes, right, which is independence, when they eat you alive and they take over, they still need you because they don't know how to operate that big combine, the big mining machine that blasts the thing to get the gold out
Yeah.
more efficient.
Yeah.
They don't know how to operate that. What's it called?
I think a combine harvester sounds
That
right.
too. They don't know how to operate that. So
Yeah.
that's how it was done, which is why it was still, even at independence, the major, and even up until this day, the controllers of the economy, and the most powerful people in the economy are that minority group that you can't get rid of. By the way, and this does not, I'm just straight talking. This does not say this is how I feel about this group. This is how I feel about that group. This is just the reality of the situation.
And I think the land reforms were part of the reason that led to the hyperinflation. That was that's kind of what Zimbabwe got famous for. They were the first country to print a $100 trillion note. And I think $100 trillion in Zimbabwe couldn't even buy a loaf of bread.
At a point,
Jeez.
I had to go. So we'll touch on that. But yeah, no, you're right. Because I mean, you're taking away, as you said, we don't know how to operate these things. We don't know how to, and they're the backbone of the economy. So you're just overnight, you're shutting down production of your economy. So inflation went crazy due to mismanagement of the economy, to a point where our currency was worthless. They would stop. We're in a line to get. We're in the grocery store, right? Us three. We're in the line to checkout line. You've got your basket. I've got my basket. I've got my basket. I'm first. I walk up. Boom. They ring me up. They'll stop the line a little bit to do exchange rate. This is how fast the exchange rate was changing. Stop the line. So I've just gone. I've paid. Stop the line to go check the black market to see what the rate is at now. The rate jumped. They make the adjustments right there. Donnie pays a new price. They stop it right by Donnie. Boom.
Jesus.
You pay a new price.
Yeah.
That's if you're paying in the local currency. That's how worthless it was becoming at the point. However, if you had the US dollar, you're king.
And didn't you say at one point during the worst of hyperinflation, you had to pay for a school that you were going to?
And gasoline.
Okay.
So in a situation like that, where the money is losing value that fast, you need stuff that keeps value.
And
right?
then crime rate goes to the roof.
Physical things that keep value, stuff like gold,
Yeah.
right? Stuff like so precious metals, those aren't practical to keep around the house. And also you got to go mine those to do your thing.
Cows
So-
keep value, right?
Cows,
Yeah.
so livestock. So you could pay in livestock.
Okay.
You know how certain beasts they would figure out the rate of how many beasts they want for whatever you're trying to pay for. But the main thing that we were doing was we were trading in gas.
Oh, okay.
Car gas is what. So I paid. There was my last year. So this was my last 2 years. 2 years of high school. So from 06 to 08. 3 years. From about 07. 06 to 08, we're paying in gas coupons.
Wow.
British Petroleum gas coupons, BP.
So did different, like your parents with their better jobs, being a doctor and working at USAID, did they get that as currency?
Yep, that's what they got paid in.
So they would get paid.
That's what. So my parents were paid in which is ideal in a situation like that. My parents were paid in foreign currency or in gas coupons.
Mm-hmm.
And if in a situation like if they had played that situation a bit better, that time, that 5-10 years, if they had played it a bit better, fellas, I don't know if we would have even been having these conversations together. I would have been sniffing different kind of air on like beach kind of air, fresh air. I wouldn't have needed to be here working.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There were people that, so my point is there were people that if you played that period very well, there were people that got very, very rich very, very quickly.
It seems, I mean, it's essentially the same type of economy that we had in the Great Depression. Like, there's so many people in the rural South, like my grandma, for example, when she didn't see a green dollar bill until she was 11. Like, because she grew up so poor, they did eggs and chickens and cucumbers and tomatoes, like bringing those around, and they complete barter system.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we turn to.
Yeah, it's
Bartering.
all
I give you
bartering.
gas coupons. You give me what I need.
Yeah.
And really, that's how it's been for the entirety of human civilization for the most part, is the barter system.
It's just we've agreed that this one piece of, we're going to trust our central banks with this one piece of money.
Now it's just
that
a
if
card,
I trade
too.
it in, I trade in this card, we agreed, and I think they're going to give me back the, who knows, the golden.
I was reading that one of the reasons Mugabe was so unpopular is that during these times when a lot of the country is struggling, he would like throw himself the most lavish birthday parties ever that sometimes cost like $1 million US.
Also Newsom from
Oh
California.
yeah, also Newsom.
Kevin
That's
Newsom.
so, and that's where I see comparing the corruption of the Middle East. So like what goes on in the Middle East? There's sheiks in the Middle East,
Yes.
right? But so they how they differ from us is there's those sheiks who are crazy wealthy, crazy wealthy. There is so much money in Africa. There is enough to go around. Everybody could be crazy wealthy. I mean, we just discovered the key thing for the iPhone
Lithium.
battery. Lithium.
Yeah,
We
I
just
think Zimbabwe
yeah,
has
we
the
saw
most
that.
we have the
lithium like on the
second
planet,
biggest,
which has
second
to,
biggest deposits.
I think they just found
In the
one
world.
like 2 days ago. I just read an article about it this morning that was 46 million tons.
It
Holy
just keeps
shit.
it
And
just
that's gotta be-
these lithium things and these things just keep popping up. Bro, the Chinese are in Zim just blowing up every single fucking
They're
mountain.
everywhere in Africa.
They're colonizing Africa. They're the new
Yeah.
colonizers. They literally have us colonized.
Yeah.
They're blowing up every single mountain. There is enough to go around. So that's what people are realizing is that unlike in like Dubai or the Middle East where, yeah, they're stealing billions of dollars, but if I take a walk in Dubai, everything works, everything is clean. The African leaders, these motherfuckers don't even bother try fix up a traffic light, try fix up a thing, try fix up a puddle. They just take everything and go with it.
yeah.
If they at least tried to fix here and there, you know, people would ignore what was going on and people would be happy. I mean, I'd be back home and you're happy and all things are working.
Yeah,
I don't
true.
care if you can steal your billions. Just make sure that the hospitals are working, kids can go to school, basic things. We're talking basic, ultra basic, but they
Ye-
steal so much that, bro, you can't even get no. You're talking about surgery. You can't even get no paracetamol from a fucking hospital, man. It's a dire situation. It's crazy.
Yeah, you were
insane.
telling me a couple weeks ago that even when you were younger, like if you had to do major operations, you got to go to England.
Yeah, this was so. I had my bow leg thing was done in London, at the University of at Great Ormond Street Hospital and all. But yeah, it's just gotten so bad that I literally worry about my parents and them are fine, but like I worry about my family out in the rural areas and yeah, actually even the ones in the city in the ghetto. You remember the house that my dad grew up in
Yeah.
Mfako. I've got family
And
over there.
I
and
do
worry
recall
about
when
them
we
too.
were in Zimbabwe, like your family was like, okay, whatever you do, just don't take them downtown. And I think one time you're like, all right, I'll drive you through downtown Harare, but you were like, yeah, that's the most dangerous part. That's where
Yeah, and it's
they'll
not
get
really,
upset if they see you filming with a camera. or something
yeah,
like that.
they'll just give you trouble, and it's more so you won't get killed. It's just you'll just have to like pay, and they'll extort you pretty much.
Is there still a lot of segregation that goes on?
No. So naturally, I mean, remnants of our former past, former life. So naturally, there's still neighborhoods that are predominantly white, but you still,
I mean, that's the same here.
you'll get
Like, yeah,
the
but here, too.
two successful black guys, three whoever that start heading that way and stuff like that. So it's not letter of the law like it was in the past. That's all gone, but the remnants are still there,
Okay.
pretty much. So
Yeah.
like the school that I went to was the high school that I went to. I mean, there was like fucking equestrian falconry at my high school, bro. It was a white farmer school, but
love
black people
falconry.
could go there.
Yeah, damn falconry. There was also at your elementary school, there was the alien invasion.
Yes, the famous.
You were very young at the time, but have you heard the story? It's like one of the better documented UFO cases. of
No,
all
haven't
time.
heard it.
Oh shit! So apparently, an alien craft of sorts landed in front of this school in Zimbabwe, and a couple beings got out for a little bit and then got back in and
Walked out.
took off.
Walked
And
out and things.
every kid at that school reported seeing the same thing.
So that's so just to clean up a little bit on just to elaborate
Yeah.
on what he said. So how it became a big thing and it blew up is the Harvard guys came down and they ran the whole experiment. They isolated every kid that was out in the playground at that time, put them in isolation, and they told them, draw what you saw in isolation.
Mm-hmm.
Gathered up the drawings, they were all the same. So that's why because of that, that's why they really looked into it. Now they're making movies.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, man, is that aspect of, if we commercialize that, if we like put just a museum right there, a tiny little building structure, that's $3, $4, $5, $6 billion coming in a year, because the most common
Hulu
question
would have a show on that in 2 seconds.
Netflix has a documentary.
Yeah.
Netflix
Yeah.
has a show on it.
Yeah.
The
Netflix has a
Phenomena,
whole
I think it's called, where they talk a lot about that case.
Netflix has a whole. It's called The Phenomenon. It's on Netflix and all.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is, once someone discovers that I am from Zimbabwe, that's one of the most common. Yeah, there it is. That right there, based off the aerial school incident.
Mm-hmm.
And once someone discovers that I'm from Zim, that's one of the most frequently asked questions I get. Is like, yo, the alien thing. It's like,
Yeah.
government, if they just put a little structure right there, that could be a tourist. That could be a
be like-
Victoria Falls. It could be like how we
Yeah.
milk Victoria Falls is how we, because motherfuckers love aliens over here, man.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, think
no, it
about
could be
how
the
much
new like
merch
Roswell.
Area 51 sells. Like,
Yeah, and
that kind of
E.T.
stuff.
Roswell,
Yeah.
New
one of the
Mexico?
greatest.
Yeah.
E.T.
Yeah.
is one of the biggest movies ever. That's
Yeah.
alien shit.
But you mentioned Victoria Falls. That is the biggest tourist attraction in
Yes.
Zimbabwe.
Yes.
That's probably where on our trip we had the most fun.
Yeah, the number one.
Because there's like a giant bridge that goes across it.
Connects
and
Zambia and
Chef
Zimbabwe.
Donnie bungee jumped off it. I didn't want to go head
He went
first.
Chef Donnie went twice.
Yeah, I think he bungeed twice. That freaked me out, but they also have this like swing. Because for some reason, to me, it's less scary if you're not going head first. So I kind of just jumped off this bridge in a swing, and you're swinging back and forth.
I want to do that.
I know.
so
I know
bad.
where you're going.
I've seen
with this.
videos. Of
I
I
that.
know where you're going with the story.
Oh, well, are you talking
didn't-
about...
No, you didn't want to jump first. You were like, you didn't want to jump first because
Oh, I didn't want to jump first because I think back in 2009...
there it is. I knew exactly what
there
you
was a
with the
tourist
story.
on that same bridge who bungee jumped and the cord snapped.
Oof.
And she didn't die because like the cord like slowed her down and then it just snapped. But then she just ended up in this river filled with crocodiles, got rescued and just had like horrendous bruises, maybe a fractured vertebrae, but she's okay now. But I was like,
So that-
okay, I don't think I want to see if Chef Donnie survives
And
first.
it's not like here where you can sue the bejesus out of.
No, but that's why you sign waivers, though.
Yeah,
that's why you sign waivers.
Yeah.
That's what you're signing away. But she was lucky in her instance that because she was kind of injured, as he said, the cord,
Yeah.
how it snapped slowed her down completely.
Yeah.
But she was lucky in the instance that the animals don't hang out in that area. Animals, so they hang out. They need still water,
Okay.
still water, and on the banks there's no crocodiles, no hippos, nothing over there because
Okay.
the water's moving way too fast for them to be there. So
Yeah.
she kind of what hurt her the most was that's where the rapids are.
Mm-hmm.
So she was just being tossed into rocks and just smashed into it.
Jesus Christ.
Let's do some power rankings of animals that you don't want to fuck with in Zimbabwe.
Number one, hippo. Number one, by far, clear, by far.
Yeah.
By far.
yeah.
And guess what? This dude chose that, that is the one I am going to be the one. That's the one I want to fuck with.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I fucked with him. But
You were.
It was
they
just-
they
it
don't
was-
know that. They don't speak English.
It was a lifelong dream to go hippo mode with hippos. And so we had this kind of little hut, I guess, right on the river. And I saw hippos there and I was like, the hippos were maybe 100 yards away, something like that. And the water was so shallow, so I knew I could like hop in and not have to worry about like a hippo coming up from underneath me.
You could see them come.
And so, yeah, I hopped in this river in Africa and just chilled with like the hippos in my eyesight. And now I can say I officially swam with hippos. But Za was freaking out.
So what scared me, right? A hippo is a creature of habit. It goes in and out through the same point every night. So when it goes out to graze, it goes up that same place that it goes up, comes back down that way. And that's where you get in trouble. if you just somehow end up unknowingly in that path, that's how people end up dying. And rivers in Africa are a source of life. You need to be close by water. And guess where? I don't know if you know. Actually, we did notice, but where we went in and out was where they went in and out.
Yeah, and we could hear them at night.
You could see the tracks. Yeah,
they like, I call it hippo mode because during the day hippos just chill pretty much in a body water with the water right up to their snout, and then at night is when they go on land to eat and shit.
They were coming right up. There was one night that I think I was the only one that was up. There was one like literally right by our heads.
Yeah. And when they shit, it's hilarious. They have a small little tail. It kind of helicopters and just sprays the shit everywhere so they can mark their territory. But
they're just goofy.
I guess lion too.
That.
A lion. I mean, I think what I should have been worried about, because I had eyes on the hippos, but a crocodile could have easily snuck up on me when I was in the water. And we had seen some in that same river.
Yeah.
Well, crocodiles are kind of like alligators, where they don't really fuck with people that much.
And because you were in the water. So crocodile, their prey. So how they hunt is they go for the animal that's coming to drink. You were already in the water. I don't know if that would have affected.
But at one point I had to get in the water, so they could have snapped me.
But you would have seen it though.
And then I learned that you're not supposed to swim in any of those bodies of water because they have like flesh-eating parasites and bacteria that can fuck you up. So that's actually, a lot of people hit me up. They're like, I wasn't worried about the hippos killing you. I was worried about you contracting some sort of parasite.
Yeah, that swim up through your dick.
That's in the Amazon. And that's not a parasite. I think that's just a fish. A fish that's so
there's
small.
Multiple. Brother, I've blogged for a long time.
You're right. They also have some penis parasites.
And we got so unlucky. Remember, we missed a hunt. We missed a lion kill just probably by like 5-10 minutes.
We still got to see the lion.
We got to see the. So it was a zebra, right?
Either a zebra or
I think it was a zebra.
A buffalo. But I guess water buffaloes kill a lot of humans in Africa too. And
it was a buffalo.
That's stampede, right? Is the water buffalo?
Those are wildebeest.
Those are the Cape.
Which
the stampede ones are the Cape ones. The waters don't. The Cape buffalo is the one that do the, and also the wildebeest and all.
Yeah.
So we go by, we see this buffalo. We see this buffalo as we were going by to go see the sunset.
Yes.
We see it. We take pictures. Go by. It was a buffalo. Go by, see it. We'll do our thing. Sunset, 10-15 minutes. Do that. Because we have to get back to the tent. You don't want to be caught out there in the dark, because if your car dies and you're in the dark out there, you're pretty much toast. We come back. This fucking thing, this is like 10 minutes later. It's on the ground, a lion. I think I have a picture of it in my, actually, I still have a thing. It's on the ground, lions all up. It's the female lion, so it's just been dropped, because then the male comes and boots it off to eat.
Yeah.
Female's lion is all up in its guts, just eating. Missed the hunt by like 5-10 minutes.
Shit.
But at least we got to see some lions. Like sometimes you go on safari
in the wild, you
don't even have a chance to see them. Because, I mean, lions spend probably 90% of their life just sleeping and chilling.
And they wake up at night.
Yeah, just conserving energy. And then they just use all their energy in one like super intense hunt. Because I think they don't have to like eat every day. I don't.
Yeah, one big meal has
they just completely
solid for like a week maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
long time.
Something like that.
Something crazy.
Because they'll eat damn near their body weight when they do.
Yeah, they can take down like 1,000 pounds of food.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of the hippos helicoptering shit, we took a helicopter ride over Victoria Falls.
Justice for Za.
And that's when I learned that Za, I guess, is just terrified.
Justice for Za.
Justice for Za?
Justice for Za. Za's right about helicopters.
What? Oh, why?
Being no bueno. I mean, after that, the PR
Kobe thing happened?
The PR for helicopters just went.
Yeah, no. Helicopters are way more dangerous than planes. I'm sure you've been on your fair share of helicopters. But I was glad that you did it with me. I mean, Za was straight up holding my hand so tight on this helicopter.
Yeah.
Just terrified.
I'm a turbulence, so it's not more. This is weird. I don't know how to say this. It's I don't know if it's like a fear of, oh my days, I'm dead. It's just I don't like the roller coaster thing. So
yeah, helicopters are very weird. at first.
And right above the falls, I don't know because of the falls. I mean, the activity up there was very choppy, so it was
Must have been
was something
beautiful
else.
though.
But it was a beautiful way to see it.
It,
It's awesome.
it was. And the falls, I think we were there kind of during the wet season because the falls were rocking.
Yeah.
To the point where I wanted to go and swim in Devil's Pool, which is, I think, my #1 hippo mode spot of all time. I got to swim in it when I was abroad in Africa. And it's this pool right on the edge of Victoria Falls where you can just like post up, go hippo mode, and look over the largest waterfall in the world.
Yeah, I think we pulled that up one
Yeah.
time. It's an unbelievable
It's
picture.
unbelievable, but I think the waterfall was ripping too
closed.
hard that like that
was
it was
closed, yeah.
closed at the moment.
Because we were gonna, because I was like, we should go back and get our passports because it's on the Zambian side.
Yeah.
Go back, get our passports, and just go. But it was closed.
You want to talk a little bit about Zimbabwean food?
Yes,
I would say the most unique thing that you'll see there, and it's a very common food, are mopani worms.
Oh, you like the mopani worms?
Yeah,
The mopani
I
worms.
wouldn't say I love them, but it is unique. It's like a huge source of protein
So
in
it's
Africa.
It's a caterpillar.
Okay.
You know, the pre-stage of a
Of a
butterfly.
moth, or
A butterfly, the caterpillar stage. You fry that up, throw in some hot sauce, some salt, pepper.
It's crispy,
tomatoes.
right?
Yeah. Eat it so you can eat it as a snack. So so that's one way to prepare it. You can crisp it up. You can stew it. So you can eat it as a snack. Then if you want it as your protein for your main meal, we traditionally stew it, make a little gravy to then eat with sadza. I don't know if you've ever had, you ever heard of pap?
Is that the white, like doughy?
Yeah.
That
Yeah. That. So
Yep.
that's our main source of carbohydrate. So eat it with that, and it's one of my favorites.
Do you have a favorite Zimbabwean food or a favorite
That's
dish you
up
eat when you're
there.
back? I know you love your oxtail.
Pork
but,
trotters,
yeah.
oxtail.
Oh, yeah, pork trotters.
What's that? What's a pork trotter?
What do you think?
From here.
No, I meant like prepared. I knew.
Oh,
Stew.
Yeah,
Okay.
like
Stew that in a
braised
big
kinda.
pot. Stew
Yeah.
that in a big pot. Loosen up the meats and all that. Then oxtail is up there.
Yeah.
Snack wise, chicken gizzards, chicken livers. I love chicken livers. I love chicken livers. What else is obscure and we...
You guys ate. I think when I arrived at Za's house, I was grabbing a beer out of the fridge, and there was a frozen goat's head in the freezer. So you guys eat a lot of goat.
Yep, goat head soup. The cheeks are awesome. The cheeks are the best part of the goat head.
Same thing with pigs. That's where like legit.
But actually, most heads.
Yeah.
Pause.
That's where
cheeks.
barbacoa comes from.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like if you have traditional
Really?
barbacoa,
Like
it's
Chipotle?
supposed
Wow,
to be
okay,
from-
okay.
No, not
Not the
Chipotle. Will just do like pulled pork. But
Yeah.
if you go to like San Antonio or Mexico and you get barbacoa, it usually is the cheeks.
Eyeballs. What else
Yep.
do we... I'm trying to think of obscure. You didn't come during Ishwa. Ishwa is... Damn. Locust, I believe, is the English...
Oh,
Locust.
you guys eat locust?
L-O-C-U-S-T.
Yeah.
U-S-T,
That's a thing.
it's the
Yeah,
like the
like
cousin of the
a grasshopper.
Kinda,
Yeah.
you didn't come.
A
You
bigger
didn't come during...
grasshopper.
I think it
Didn't come
actually is a grasshopper. It's when grasshoppers turn into locusts when they get like, there's like a certain thing that
If you pull up a picture.
triggers.
Yes, that. Boom. Them.
Yeah.
Fry them up.
Okay. And then, I think we went to this one place. It was very touristy, but they served you all types of bush meats. We got to have like wild boar, antelope,
Oh, at
Maybe
Pacific
zebra.
Falls, right?
Antelope is
Yeah.
so good.
That restaurant. What was it called?
and that's where they come out. They do traditional African dance
they gave
for
you.
you.
They gave you the wrap.
Yeah.
The cloth. Fuck. I forgot what the restaurant's called. Goma in Big Falls.
Okay, yeah.
Antelope's one of my favorite
I
proteins
don't
that
like
there
it,
are.
man. I don't like it.
Really?
Gamey. I don't like the gamey stuff.
Oh man, you prepare
sure it's
that
lean.
and like if you take it and you do like a reverse sear for antelope and then you hit it with like a balsamic glaze and a little bit of
Now-
fresh herbs to take away some of the gaminess.
Where are you getting your antelope, or are you just talking about deer?
No, I'm talking about antelope.
Can you get antelope in the U.S.?
You can get antelope in Texas easy.
You can get
Oh,
any-
you can get whatever you want in Texas.
Yeah.
In terms of meat.
Yeah,
Texas has to be the meat capital of the planet.
there are several different restaurants that I used to go to pretty regularly in San Antonio that
How
served
does
antelope.
deer compare to?
It's almost the same.
Okay, pretty
Okay.
similar.
They're pretty similar.
Because I've had a mental block. I've had the chance to try deer here, and I've just had a mental block.
Yeah.
I don't like.
Oh, it's great.
What about, have you ever tried kudu? It's pretty much just like a large antelope with larger horns.
Oh,
They all
yeah.
kind of taste
Yeah.
the same.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It is like all that whole family is
It's kind of like
essentially
how
the
the
same.
gator tastes the same as the crocodile, and
Yeah.
I'm a huge gator head. I love gator.
I can't.
Sidney Wells' dad is a maniac. He signed up for a hippo hunting trip, or he got a hippo hunting permit, and he went to Africa and speared a hippo with his own hand.
I just don't have a relationship with Sydney.
Yeah.
I don't know her like that, but I was gonna pitch that. I don't know.
Spear hunting hippos in Africa
No,
with her?
not.
Oh, but if she wanted to do a hunting trip in
I have a
Africa.
hunting.
Yeah.
One of my friends is a professional hunter.
I mean, you should, because I know her dad hunts in Africa like a
it's just,
fair
I don't
amount.
know. I don't know if she wanted to do a problem animal control, maybe elephant or.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do people in Zim feel about conservation hunting?
Yeah, that's a common misconception. The just to clarify that the Cecil, like the Cecil the lion thing, became an issue because the professional hunter, the doctor here, the American doctor, got in trouble. But that was all on the professional hunter that took him on the hunt. You have to follow certain rules. You can't just go around. People ain't just going around shooting certain animals. You have to get a permit to go hunting legally. You get a permit through the Parks and Wildlife.
And that
Parks
could
and
cost
Wildlife
you like
people.
$100,000
Boom.
if you're trying to kill a lion.
It can cost you depending on the trophy. Depending on the trophy, the ranges and how much which trophy costs. Things when done properly, certain things are taken into consideration. So the only animals that you're allowed to drop are probably they called problem animal control cases, which is where the wildlife is getting into like the human areas and back and
or
forth.
the farmlands.
Or it could be one that's known to have like a rare something and it needs to be taken care of, kind of thing. So if you do it legally, it's ethical. It's not. There's a common misconception that you can just go around and
you
just,
cull populations, like you have to do it in like the Pacific Northwest. You have to do it with the wolf population.
to conserve the ecosystem. So you're doing it.
And when it works out well, that the permit price, say if he pays like $100K, hopefully that money goes back to the local community.
That's how it's meant to do. But the main thing is once you drop the animal, you're usually not allowed to take it, depending on what it is. If there's any so I guess you can take like the head or whatever.
Yeah,
but you have to leave. You have to leave the meat for the local villages.
Yes.
From where you.
Yeah, like I've read that you go in, you pay the $100,000 or whatever for an elephant, and that shit can feed like a whole area for like a month. Because
when it's done proper,
it's so much meat.
Yeah.
Especially the main ones that of course the elephant ones are. Because that's the thing is that
I don't know if you can just
people get superstitious with elephants.
Yeah,
it's more and also
the ivory. Like that's the main reason that elephants are poached is because they know they can sell the tusk to China, who will be like, oh, if I grind this up, put it in my tea, it will cure my cock cancer or something like that.
Boom. That's the problem that elephants and rhinos. Rhino is the one that has the biggest concentration of
it's rhino horn that the Chinese believe cures all these ailments. The science has proven that is not the case, but they still believe it. And so, I think rhinos are way more endangered than elephants. Like
that's one of the big reason why they will take them off early.
Yeah.
Like that, they'll remove a rhino's horn.
Yeah.
So they're not.
Yeah. So that they're not
endangered.
dropped. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then now you're literally altering the biology of an entire animal. The horn is they use the horn every day.
Right,
Kind of
they
thing.
need
So,
it.
Yeah.
they
It's an
literally
evolutionary
need it.
trait for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the elephant thing. The main ones are like the kudus and stuff because people don't want the elephant. If you're doing an elephant, you need a backup shot.
Yes.
So the elephant one you don't drop by yourself. You've got an immediate backup shot from the professional hunter that you're with. And that shit is fucking terrifying. For elephants, you drop them motherfuckers when they're like right by me and Chaps. Me and Chaps, me and you.
Yeah.
So it's a bang, 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 bang gunshot. This thing is running right at you. It is huge. And you wait until it's like 5 yards away from you. 10 yards away. In some cases, it can drop onto your toe.
Yeah, if you don't shoot it in the right place, like you're not gonna kill it.
Yeah,
you gotta get a direct shot.
They have big caliber weapons.
It
too.
is the rifle will blow your fucking shoulder.
Are you talking
off.
about their cocks?
No.
the rifle? The rifle
But
is
yeah,
rubber.
elephants do have
elephants have big caliber
sticks,
weapons
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
That when I was on safari the first time, like an elephant kind of charged our car for a bit. And it took me a while to realize what I was seeing. I was like, how many legs does this thing have? And I was like, oh, that is not a leg. Its cock was just like dragging on the ground as well.
But think about how meaty that has to be. Like if you're
They probably weighs like 500 pounds.
right, you probably
More.
got, yeah.
An
heavy.
elephant weighs more than 500
No,
pounds.
the
No,
thing
the
is,
dick.
it's dick.
Oh, its
Yeah.
dick.
Just
Yeah.
its dick.
Yes.
And think about how much blood has to go in there.
Yeah.
Like for our good friends at Blue Chew, to raise that thing up, like doggy style as an elephant.
Oh,
that's a
whoa.
long way to go.
I told you on the pod, they don't doggy style as an elephant.
They spray.
Their cocks are too big to get in an elephant's vagina, so they just spray
Yeah.
the outside.
They call it gaping, actually.
Okay. And can like an elephant vagina just like open up and then it just
Yeah.
sprays it in?
Or anus sometimes too. Some of them like that.
Okay.
Beautiful animal, though.
Yeah, it is.
It is a beautiful, animal.
You can train them. But I'm scared. My dream was always to go like on a safari walk on the back of one, but I am petrified. I mean, because a wild
They do
animal,
that?
they'll tell you it's trained, but at the end of the day, a wild animal is a wild animal.
Yeah.
If it just thinks to be wild that one
Yep.
day.
Me and you did a walking safari though. We like tracked some giraffes through the bush. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah,
We
up
woke
by
up
Big
super-
Falls when we went for it was the breakfast, right? The
Yeah,
breakfast
it was like
that
super early in the morning, and they just
morning.
like they parked the car. Me and Za were just walking through the bush
How
with a guy, and he just kind of like looked
that-
for prints, and we found a herd of giraffes.
Those guys' eyes are incredible.
Yeah,
Those guys' eyes, I mean, it's experience, but the way those guys spot things, it's like he saw, because the ones we ended up finding, he saw the head before he's pointing. I was like, dude, I'm looking in that direction. I don't see shit. It's like, it's right there. I'm like, what the hell?
yeah, because they can actually blend in. Like being so big, they can still manage to blend in with their surroundings.
Do you remember then after we did the whole walk on our drive back, on the drive back, when we were driving back right by, so we were tracking these things for like, and I don't know how long it was.
Yeah.
Drive back to the tents. There was one literally right on the side of the road,
Oh yeah.
right next to. That was actually the closer encounter, the one that was right
Yeah.
on the side of the road.
You were definitely a little on edge when we were on safari. Like,
And those are wild animals, Donnie.
yeah, I know. He was not happy with me. He's like, "You're not taking this seriously
Yeah,
enough.
you're
don't
not- you
I
understand."
think I would be
You
taking
weren't.
his clues more
Yeah,
than
he is like, we are-
yours. Like he's from there.
Yeah.
So
It's-
if he's showing trepidation about the animals, I think I would too.
Yeah, so I was like,
Yeah, we're
this
in
is
a-
not a fucking zoo, Donnie.
It's not a zoo. Yeah, we're in a car, but at the end of the day, if this fucking thing thinks about it, that car ain't gonna do shit. It was
Yeah.
open. It's one of those, you know how the safari cars are,
Yeah.
right? It's open.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're playing off so like I don't know if you've seen the videos of like the cheetah and the leopards jumping on top of the car.
Yeah.
You're playing off the psychology of the animal. Apparently, I don't know which ones. I think the cheetahs and the lions and them, when they see that car with the guide and all that, they don't see they think it's the one structure. So they don't see the guy that's sitting at the front, at the front of the car. They think he's like part of the car, so they're more intimidated. So they see it as one unit, not like individualistic. Fucking thing jumps on the thing. I panic. I jump out. Then it becomes individualistic. It realizes, oh shit, these are people. This is lunch right here. Could be dead right there.
Very true. This is about kind of supernatural beliefs in Zimbabwe. Do you believe in tokalashes?
I try not to buy into it, but
Okay.
the
What is
majority of
It's a goblin. I guess goblins are a big problem in
Yeah,
Zimbabwe, and there's been a
superstition.
lot of court cases involving them. Like a man blames goblins for
Yeah.
selling grandmother's property.
Yeah.
There was a court case with a guy, the goblin, let's go see. In one case, a woman claimed a goblin was harassing her in bed.
I like
and
that.
local traditional leaders held a public exorcism, burning the goblin, which was a stuffed doll. But yeah, they're kind of just they're known for causing a ruckus out there.
The problem
yeah.
is a lot of crazy stuff happens. A lot of crazy stuff happens, and also now with technology coming, with more and more technology coming to us now too, we're also experiencing the craze of fake news. But
yeah.
culturally, it's a very big part of our culture, that superstitious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Me because I went to the University of Tampa in Florida, and I've now got my fancy ass American accent. Now, when I came here to this classroom, they taught in the classrooms here. They tell me question everything in life. So now
Yeah.
I'm questioning, and I'm like, all
Don't
right,
believe in goblins.
is this stuff that I just culturally used to conform and say, all right, this is a part of who we are? Is this actually true? Or is this like a spurious correlation where something happens that is completely independent to this, and somehow they do the mental gymnastics and link them to evidences and justify their case and saying that, all right, these goblins actually exist. So like someone might drop dead and have a seizure. That can be spun and being said that,
It was caused by a goblin.
The Tokolos came last night that did this, that to them. They'll spin it in a
Tokolosh. Yeah, like there was a
Stuff-
woman who
stuff
claimed
like that.
her father married her off to a goblin. That's a tough break. And so she was having mental health issues and probably was in a horrible marriage.
Yeah.
And then so instead of she's just like, it's because I'm fucking married to a goblin.
Uh-huh.
Did we do a witch doctor? Did we see a witch doctor?
We did. What's that thing they do in Zimbabwe where they throw the bones on the ground?
We saw the
They know how to read bones. They're called like bone readers.
Yes, but we saw the fake one.
Yeah, yeah.
The witch doctor. We saw the fake. We saw the tourist one.
Yeah,
we saw
yeah.
the tourist
That was the most touristy thing
one
ever.
at Great Zim.
Yeah, she just threw some bones
Great
on the
Zim.
ground and then told us a bunch
They
of
had to-
completely wrong
I remember we
predictions.
got there. I remember we got there. They weren't even there.
Yeah.
The dude wasn't even there. They had to go fucking get him. They had to go get him, and he went
Yeah.
and he put on his gear and came
Yeah.
by, and I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
These
Yeah,
folks
I
are
don't think he
something
was the
else.
real deal, but who knows? I'm sure there are some legit witch doctors out there.
Did you see his dick?
No. Why would I be? No. Why? What do you think? What do you think you're going to a witch doctor for?
I don't know. I don't know what what practices are under a witch doctor. I don't know what that witch doctoring entails.
Did you think that in terms of practices, like fucking? I don't even know. Oh my days! I don't even know what the hell's going on. Witch doctor. How do I even describe what a
Sam.
witch doctor? Witch
I don't know.
All right, witch doctor deals with
He needs to
your
get out
problem.
more.
The witch doctor deals with your problems. He's not showing your dick. You're paying reparations to get. So like if for example, I don't know, what do people go to witch doctors for? Oh, for example, let's say perfect. Goldfinger pissed me off. I go to the witch doctor. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna pay you reparations.
Yeah.
This Goldfinger pissed me off. He then decides, okay, all right, I can strike his house with lightning.
Yeah. So like
Then I
witch
pay
doctors
for-
could help you put a curse on someone.
Curse, they
could
help.
be-
They help in medical emergencies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're your lucky charm, so as to say, that you can
Yeah.
use for evil, spiteful ways, because that's
Yeah.
how us humans.
And like even say if you've had massive diarrhea the last few weeks, you could go to like a witch doctor and be like, I
can
think
choose.
like a goblin is causing this, or like there might be some supernatural causes,
Boom.
and the witch doctor could try to do some spells or rub some things on you that could get the bad juju out of you.
Can
I
they
fought-
do that via Zoom? I would love that.
Now it's Starlink. Now
If
it's
the
Starlink.
price is right.
Now it's Starlink. I mean, now it's Starlink. There's probably
Yeah.
some Zoom. There's
Yeah.
some Zoom witch doctors nowadays. But yeah, now if I get sick, for example, Goldfinger, if I get sick, I can either go to my dad, who's a doctor, who I don't believe in. So I'm like, fuck that. I'm gonna go to a witch doctor.
Yeah.
They do the traditional. They're traditional healers. They help you with your problems and they wear different hats. They don't show dick.
Okay, no dick.
Okay, now Za, we should probably explain this. So we have told
No,
Goldfinger.
don't explain it.
No?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay, fine.
Wait, what we no? If we
No.
were, what were we gonna explain? If we
No,
had to
no,
explain?
no. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Sam's just doing his thing.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Nothing.
No.
Oh, did I just get trolled?
No.
All my days.
No. It was not a troll at all.
You guys, I mean,
But don't worry, you won't be the only one who is asked whether you've seen someone's dick.
okay. He's doing a bit. He's doing a. Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Oh, you're. What do the kids? What do the kids call it nowadays? They call it clip farming, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing? Clip farming.
You got to talk to him about that. One thing I was reading is that Zimbabwe has the largest man-made lake in the world,
Lake Kariba.
Lake Kariba.
Lake
And
Kariba.
that's, if I ever go back to Zimbabwe, I want to do the houseboat because your family will usually go on a houseboat for like a week every summer.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
We just didn't have time, and logistically, time-wise that was our problem, is that we just didn't have time to do everything, because you have to, when you're doing the houseboat, you're on there for like four nights minimum kind of thing. But I don't know if you remember Binga. You remember that the Binga, the beach, the Zimbabwe beach we went to. You remember that area where the people
Yes.
had the two front teeth knocked out?
Ooh, yes.
You remember that?
Why do they do that?
So it's so easy access. So there's a tribe in Zim, in Binga, they call the Vatonga, the Vatonga, and they smoke a lot of I guess
Hookah,
it's a cousin of shisha.
Oh, yeah. So they all like were walking around with bongs.
Pipes. Yeah, pipes. So for easy access, if you're part of that tribe,
I like weed. That's dedication to the game.
two front teeth. So all the two front teeth, boom, knock them out, smoke pipes. So pretty. You see these pretty ass women with no front teeth because they
Just hitting the bong.
So-
Yeah.
that area. I don't know if you remember when we went to the water.
Yes.
That's the furthest end of Lake Kariba.
Okay.
The main side is on the other side, which was like 200-300 k's on the. It's a big lake. It's huge.
Yeah, and your family will just go on the houseboat and just chill for
cruise-
4 daase,
cruise around, go fishing, so cruise around, move from island to island, dock the boat, take the little speedboats, go fishing while you're speedboating and fishing. You know, the animals, you're seeing animals coming to drink.
That's
elephants,
awesome.
hippos, and all that.
That
it's
sounds
nice.
incredible.
I do that every time I go home.
Yeah.
That's been my parents' vacation. It's a great way to relax. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Do you ever see yourself moving back full time, like retirement or anything like that?
Chaps, I always say, if I'm in control of when I go, when my story ends, I am gonna die. I am gonna die on Zimbabwean soil. If I have it my way.
I think I got to see your family plot where like a lot of your
You saw the national
ancestors have been buried.
the Heroes Acre, the
Yeah.
Chimedza Heroes Acre,
that was
where
very
everybody
cool.
goes to rest. Yeah, on our family shrine.
Yeah.
Where my grandfather's buried.
So
there,
is
my
that
uncles. That's
Very
where
important
that's where
culturally.
my brother. That's where my story will end. That's
Okay.
where I'll be laid to rest.
Okay.
On that hill.
Now,
that hill at
if
my
you
village.
had a visa that just like allowed you to freely travel back to Zimbabwe whenever you want, would you like to, like 10 years down the line, spend more time there?
It's not a visa thing. It's a practicality. It's a bank account thing.
Okay.
So if I had Portnoy money, again, we would not know each other.
Okay. Okay.
I'd be split. And it's no insult.
I would not be on this podcast.
It's no
I wouldn't
insult.
be your friend.
It's no insult. It's no insult to you guys, but that's just how life works. I'll be splitting my time probably between Harare,
London.
which is Zim.
Yeah.
I'll have a
Flat in
I'll have
London.
a flat in London. I'll actually, you know what? Not just in London. I'll have a flat at Highbury, our old stadium. I'll buy one of the. So Arsenal turned our old stadium into flats. I'll buy one of them.
Okay.
That's where my flat will be for the Arsenal games. And I guess because my brother and my niece and nephews are here, I'll have a place in Florida.
We could still hang out sometimes.
Yeah, of course. I mean, of course, you'll be more than welcome. You'll be more than welcome. Bro, you're family now. You can be coming to Zim, you're going on the houseboat,
Nice.
Going to Arsenal games.
Yeah.
All of y'all are welcome, man.
Now, I never hit the bong when I was out in Zimbabwe, but I did smoke some weed with Zaz house
garden.
house taker. He was the
He talks about that
landscaper,
every time.
right?
Yes, dude.
Yeah, that was, and I love African weed. It's the perfect amount of strength.
It's terrible.
Now, this was also something I learned before arriving there, that Zimbabwe has a bit of a cough syrup problem. There's like a lot of youth that are addicted to cough syrup. And I was like, you know what? I've never actually tried cough syrup. It'd be pretty cool to try.
Codeine.
So
Lean,
Yep.
Donnie Lean.
Za was able to find me a plug, and I was able to pick up a bottle of cough syrup, which I did on the flight home. I remember I had it in my bag, and then I was just waiting for my flight, and I just mixed a bunch of cough syrup with Sprite, and I was like, I'm gonna try lean for the first time.
Yeah.
I was not really a fan.
Listen to March Madness by Future.
Yes, yeah. That's what I was doing, just walking around the Harar airport, blasting Future, drinking scissorp.
I love it.
It's a big problem. Big problem. Now.
Yeah, it is a problem.
You know
out
what's
there.
gotten big? Since this last time I went. When I was during my time, I left Zim in 20. When did I move here? 2010. I left Zim in 2010. During my time, the only thing you'd see on the streets in terms of drugs and stuff was weed.
Yeah.
So I didn't know nothing. Everything I know about, all this Molly and all that, I saw that all here.
Yeah.
I don't know. And some of this shit I actually haven't seen. I went back home this last year in May, actually a year ago in May. Kids are now doing cocaine in Zim. I was like, what the hell?
Damn.
Cocaine apparently it's gotten big. I don't know if fentanyl's a problem there yet.
Yeah.
But it is. It's now cocaine and as you mentioned, Bronco, the cough syrup.
Bronco,
Which-
is that what they called it? Yeah. I don't think this is in Zimbabwe, but in some parts of Africa, glue is
Glue too. Yep,
problem
glue.
too.
So glue is so Bronco kind of replaced. Actually, glue is big too. Glue is massive too in Zim.
Okay.
Oh,
Glue
we're
is
talking
massive.
about sniffing?
Sniffing glue.
Sniffing glue.
Hell yeah.
Sniffing glue. Put it
No,
on.
not hell yeah. That is
Oh.
not. I think we drove by some glue addicts when we were there.
Oh.
It doesn't
I was
look
just
good. They
thinking,
Right on the
shout
street.
out Miss Whitaker's first class. We used
Yeah,
to get after that rubber cement.
Okay, yeah. In small doses.
Yeah.
Everything's great in moderation, including glue.
Yeah.
That is true. Everything is great in moderation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Zim, man, I love it.
Do you have any other fond memories from our trip there? I recall Chef Donnie would always make your parents eggs in the morning, and your mom
Everybody.
was obsessed with those eggs.
That's how they make them now.
Yeah, and that's
how I
actually
make
how
them.
I make them now
That's-
too.
that's
I've
how I
learned how
make
to.
them now.
I realized that I was overcooking my
yeah.
scrambled
Slowly,
eggs,
it's on,
and then
off,
just
on,
low
off.
and slow, on and off the heat, back and forth, and then you get the creamiest.
And with the icing utensil
Soft-
makes it even better too.
Yes, yeah, you just use that and just keep the eggs moving low and slow, and now my scrambled eggs are 100 times
Fluffier.
better.
They're the little bit creamier when you do it that way.
I have to shout out Zambezi beer. That's the most popular
There it
beer
is.
out there. We were drinking
There
a lot
it
of those.
is.
That's a
Great
great
beer.
name.
I do think if I had to list my favorite beers, obviously a Termi is going to be up there, an airport beer, and then I think my second favorite beer is an African beer after being in the African sun for
there it is.
6
It
hours.
hits different.
Nothing hits harder.
In the bush.
It's a cold African beer.
It's different, especially on a campsite tent and all that. Fun memories. I mean, we ran through them all pretty much. But
Yeah.
the one thing that I was very, very I alluded to this a little earlier. I was nervous about how you guys and my family was gonna interact, but it could not have gone any better.
Yes.
It really could not have gone any better, to the point where they are actually annoying now. Just asking about I kid you not.
Yeah.
Each and every time I call home, it's they're constantly asking, "Oh, how's Donnie? How's the chef?
How are the
this?
Donnies?"
How's this?" Like,
And
yeah.
his
Like,
mom
keep
actually.
him updated. There's he's a father now. He's like, "Oh, this."
The funniest interaction was when we arrived at his house. The first thing his mom said to me was like, "Oh, I expected you to be a lot larger, seeing that people call you the 1-ton Don." You can call me wonton.
You don't look 1 ton.
She thought that was like a fat joke.
It'd be like the
If you ever
metric.
get fat, that's
1 ton. I'm like,
1 ton Don.
one ton. It's like, oh, I thought he was going to be fat. I was like, wait, why?
Yeah.
Isn't his name Wonton? I'm like, oh God. Like, now you're gonna embarrass me. It's like, no, wonton, like the food.
We need to get a doppelganger for you that's super fat.
Wonton.
Yeah. And speaking of wontons in Zimbabwe, we did go to one Chinese restaurant.
You almost get your finger. You almost got your finger.
Yeah, I walked
You almost
into
got
a
your
Chinese
finger taken
restaurant. There
off.
was a cute little dog, and I was like,
Got
oh,
his
look at this.
finger
I
taken
went to
off.
pet it, and it just fucking freaked out.
Went at him.
Like, attacked me. But yeah, I would say in Africa in general, a lot of people aren't super fond of the Chinese because they're just showing up and cutting these deals with
Colonizers.
the government. Like, we're going to build you a new factory, we're going to build you a new highway, and they're like, oh, great. Like, but then they're like, but now it's actually ours,
And
we
I
can
don't
do whatever
blame-
we want with it.
I don't blame the Chinese at all. Because as a human, you know what? As a human, you look out for your own interests.
Yes.
You look out for your interests and your interests only. It should be our government protecting us, putting the standards there in place,
Yeah.
saying that you motherfuckers cannot just come and blow up this hill and not clean things up. That's their problem. Is that they're very reckless and they don't clean shit up. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. They're just spilling shit in rivers, and it's like, bro, rivers are the source of life for people and stuff. So it's like, I think it's lithium or is it limestone? One of these. I forgot which one's very water intensive, and that's the one that it's becoming problematic with them. That they're just tossing the toxins in the water.
Shit.
Shit.
I really appreciate you guys having me on. I don't get a chance to talk.
Yeah, you're
about
behind the
Zim, and
scenes
I
a lot of the
love
time.
talking about Zim. So I really
Okay.
appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
having me
Yeah,
on.
and I love you and your whole family. So please tell all of them that I'm thinking of them. I'm thinking of Fuzz. I'm thinking of Fuzz's family, and I'm thinking of all your extended family that we met in the village.
You can do it yourself right there. Look right there in that camera, because guess what? As soon as this comes out, I'm taking the link and I'm dropping it in the family
Oh, okay, great.
family group chat, like how you guys drop your pins.
Okay,
Nice.
well, I hope they don't, because like when I start talking about Zimbabwe history and stuff, I don't really know what I'm talking about. So don't judge me on that.
yeah, no.
But yeah, love you guys.
Boom.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. They don't make it easy to buy concert tickets these days if you got to use like the official ones. So that's why you got to go with our friends at Game Time, because going to a concert should be about the show itself, not waiting in a virtual line. And lucky for me, I always use Game Time, which is the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Game Time makes it easier and faster to get the best deal possible. Prices on the app actually go down the closer it gets to showtime. I was looking at tickets to go to AC/DC this weekend because old Donnie was saying that he was going to go. I wanted to go too. I got them for the low price of $98. Unbelievable deal. So what are you waiting for? I'm going to buy those tickets to AC/DC, and maybe you should too if you're in the Chicagoland area. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code DROP, D-R-O-P, for $20 off your first purchase. So you could see AC/DC for $78, unlike me, because I use the app all the time. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code DROP for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game time. All right, folks, it's getting close to time for us to go to Mexico. Me and Donnie are going to do our first ever foreign trip together, and the Drop a Pin boys are going to head to Mexico City. We're going to see the crown jewel of the NASCAR Mexico City. There's going to be tight corners, fast straights, and push drivers to their limit with door-to-door battles all race long. Anything can happen in Mexico City, where bold moves and dramatic finishes are a part of the show. The fan experience is electric with passionate crowds, nonstop energy, and a celebration of motorsports. Tickets are going fast, so you might want to go. Tickets are going fast, and so are the cars, folks. So lock in yours now at NASCAR.com and don't miss the excitement. Fuel the adrenaline in Mexico City. Get your NASCAR Cup Series tickets now for edge-of-your-seat racing action. Secure your seat today, again, by going to NASCAR.com. gettincultured.com, and you'll see me and Donnie in Mexico City if you do just that.
Today's Gettin Cultured is brought to you by Hey Dude. Shoes that you never have to tie. They just slip right on.
Look at that.
Oh, they're lightweight. They're comfortable. They're durable. Ooh. I'm never going to tie shoes again with my
Never.
Hey Dudes. Never again. And if you want a pair of your own, you go to heydude.com. Anything you'd like to add, Chaps?
I just love these shoes. That's it, Donnie.
These are actually, I think these are the golf shoes. So if you're trying to hit the course this summer, rock these.
Yeah, these ones got good grip on the bottom, too. I like the just going through the security, pop them on. Look at that. Super fast, KB.
They
Boom.
look good on you too.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Nothing against your kick games, but I think those should be toward the top of your rotation moving forward.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And also, once the plane takes off, I'm a big take my shoes off guy. So these are easy just to slip on and off.
Okay.
I know some people frown on that, but if it's a long flight, like I've been on a lot of long flights and my feet get like sweaty. So I like to let them breathe.
Hour 30 or longer? Is that where you go? Shoes off?
Hour 30?
30. I
What
don't.
is that?
I don't think that flight exists. I think the longest flight in the world is like something. The longest direct flight might be like London to Singapore, or it's New York to Singapore, and that's like 22.
No, I said hour 30.
What do you mean?
Like an hour and 30-minute long flight.
hour and a half.
I thought you meant on hour 30.
No, I draw it.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
no, I draw it. I take my shoes off if the flight is
I was
longer.
like, I'm not
than
sure what Singapore to Australia
2
has to do with
hours.
anything.
Yeah, yeah. If the flight is longer than 2 hours, I take my shoes off.
Oh, okay.
All right. So, what do you got for us today, KB?
Okay. So I've never been international, only domestic. So I want you guys, and this might be too hefty of an assignment, but I want you guys to build your dream vacation or trip based on different categories that
Okay.
would typically make up a good trip.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, this is a question that could take a long time, but I'm just gonna give you the very first thing that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like
Comes to
the
mind.
very best thing. Just whatever comes to mind is
Yep.
being good for one of these categories. And so it would be like one outdoor attraction / park / monument. For example, I put Zion. One beach / body of water. One outdoor activity. One entertainment activity. That could be a concert show, etc. One city's nightlife. One city's day life. One view. So like from your hotel. One place's people, and one place's architecture.
Love
Jeez,
that.
If we have time, 3 places food.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, food, that is an easy one. Japan. I think you would maybe agree with me.
Yep, but I actually would go Mediterranean. I would
Okay.
go Greece.
So give me
Yeah.
a place, like
All right.
even like a city. So if I were to go to this place, I'd be most looking forward to the food.
I mean, I guess I'd go to the heart of it and go to Athens.
Athens, Greece.
Tokyo, Japan.
Okay.
Perfect.
It's got everything. Okay, but now let's go back to the top of your list. The first category was just like parks.
On this dream
things
trip,
like-
this fantasy trip,
outdoors.
you get to go to one attraction.
yeah.
Whether it's a park, just one single monument, any attraction.
Okay.
Oh, I know. I saw it recently. There's this spot that is in the Alps that you go up super high, like one of the highest peaks in the Alps. And then they take you on this bridge and you sit in almost like what looks like a tire swing. And you go out over and you're like fucking 20,000 feet in the air swinging on just nothing but like a tire swing. I would want to do that.
Have you done it?
No, I would love to do
But
that.
this is based on what you have.
Oh,
done.
what I have
but I
done.
do want to do that, and that is a good answer. So
Oh,
I'll actually take that answer.
Okay.
And you don't have to say what
Okay.
you've done.
But that might fall under the category outdoor activity because you also had.
Interchangeable.
All right. So
Okay. So things that
Alpine
I actually
tire
have
swing.
done?
Have you seen the Alps?
No.
I have. Now, is this so? This question's more based on monuments and not just general outdoor scenery.
It can even be like a mountain, a volcano, something you've seen.
So for as far as what I have seen, I have said it before, but I think the prettiest place I've ever been is Lake Louise in Alberta.
In Canada.
Yeah, Banff.
Is that by, okay, yeah, I've seen. That's like the really turquoise.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That's on my list. Thank you.
This one's a little cliche, but I think the Great Wall of China lives up to the hype.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's big. It's great.
Do you remember how long it is in total with all the little tentacles and everything?
7,000 miles.
14,000.
Damn. Yeah.
That's insane.
And they also have a slide. So you take a chairlift up to it, and then they have this like slide that you take down. The slide I thought was going to be like made for 4-year-olds. It is extreme. You go so fast. One time I went over the edge of the slide, like almost just
It's
rolled
metal,
down a
right?
mountain.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's metal, and you're on this little, I don't know, like a luge. At one point I was going down, and like a few goats were crossing. If I had left like 30 seconds earlier, I would have just slammed into a goat. But I was so close to the goat, I slapped it on the ass as I was going by.
Just goats as
Goats,
obstacles?
yeah, goats just
Do people die
crossing
on
the
this
slide.
thing?
I came very close. Like also at one point, my friends ahead of me just stopped, so I came around a corner and slammed the back of them at full speed. So yeah, I could see someone dying on that, but it was exhilarating. It had my adrenaline pumping. All right, what's the next category?
I mean, you kind of just answered it, but best beach / body of water. Mine would be Lanikai in Oahu. Felt like I was in a screensaver. It's like one of those.
Okay. Yeah, I felt like I was in a screensaver when I was in El Nido on Palawan Island in the...
Azores?
Nope.
Palawan?
It's an island in an archipelago known as... I thought you would know. The Philippines.
Oh my God. Oh, so that's the best beach you've been to? The prettiest?
I mean, it's up there. Like for all these categories, I could just list
Yeah, no, but
10
that's
things.
interesting.
I'm trying to say like the first thing that came to mind, like the beaches there were stunningly
Okay.
beautiful. It is where I got the worst food poisoning of my life. I actually got E. coli there. It became such a tourist hotspot so fast that they're still trying to work out how to get like clean, safe water everywhere. So be very careful with the food and drink when you're in El Nido. But
just avoid those things and
Yeah.
have a blast.
yeah, just don't eat or drink anything in El Nido. But the views are worth it.
I appreciate some Philippines hype.
I would probably go Hido Point in Okinawa, Japan.
I knew we were going to get to Okinawa. That's
beautiful.
on my big list.
Yeah, it's great. Like there's so many, like if you like history, if you like the fresh food there, like the pineapples are unbelievable. Like pineapple wine where it doesn't even taste like shit.
wine.
It's so good.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Hido Point. Like one of my favorite memories from there is they had cliffs that you could jump off of into the water, and you would take these little pink gumball looking fish food things, and you would jump off, and when you were in there with like your scuba gear on or your snorkel stuff, you could roll it in your fingers a little bit, and then you would have huge schools of tropical fish that just like come all around you everywhere. Anything from like barracudas to like clownfish, everything are around. It was amazing.
Barracudas sound a little scary though.
Barracudas are
That's-
frightening as hell.
So that's
yeah.
like I was high on Okinawa. Now I'm higher
Because of the
Okay.
barracuda?
because of everything you just described.
yeah.
Kind
Yeah.
of just
They
Okinawa
call
is
it
a
the
how awesome it is.
Hawaii of Japan.
Yeah, so like people, if they're in Japan, if they're going for like a Hawaii type vacation, they go to Okinawa.
Okay, dope.
Or they go to Hawaii.
I'm going in 2 days.
Yeah.
You're going back to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Wow.
In 2 days?
Yeah.
So now like you've never left the country, but you've been to Alaska, and then soon you'll have been to Hawaii twice. So you're going as far as you can without having to go through the hassle of just applying for a passport, which is not as hard. I think you're putting it on you're putting it on a pedestal.
I got plenty of time.
Because Hawaii, like you could do an abroad vacation for probably a lot cheaper than what you're spending to go to Hawaii.
Absolutely. Like Thailand comes to mind, but we'll see.
Okay.
What's next? All right, one outdoor activity. So mine would be the helicopter we took in Alaska to the glacial pool.
Yeah.
That was the most
That
magnificent sights.
yeah,
feelings.
being in that glacial pool, that's definitely like a top 3 experience for me. It's just like the bluest water I have seen in my life. Outdoor activity, I loved the Dolomite Mountains. So you can go in the summer and just hike from like lodge to lodge, or you can go in the winter and just take the gondolas up and ski down. There's great ski resorts, like very cool looking mountains. We'll throw some photos in. Crazy shapes.
I don't know where that is.
The Dolomites. So it is north of Venice, about like 3 hours north of Venice. So I think it's technically considered part of the Alps, but it also like it has its own name. It's where the next Winter Olympics are. So
Wait, really?
yeah, the next Winter Olympics 2026. So very soon. I don't know. Maybe there's a chance I get to go for work, but it was awesome.
The
But
Dolomites.
yeah, they have these lodges. We were spending time at one. This was before we had rented skis and snowboards. So we just took the gondola up simply just to hang out at the lodge because it's surrounded by these beautiful mountains. We were drinking all day. And then all of a sudden we go for a little walk. We come back. Everyone had left the lodge. And we talked to someone behind the bar. They're like, yeah, the chairlift just closed. So that's why everybody left. Like, it's time to leave. We're closing up. We've already done last call. So we were like, oh shit, the chairlift is closing? We run to the chairlift. It had in fact closed. Keep in mind, we didn't have skis or a snowboard. So then we run back to the lodge just to like ask for help. We need help getting down the mountain. Everyone had left. The lights had been turned off.
Stuck atop a mountain.
We were stranded on top of a mountain with with the sun had already gone down. And it was getting dark fast.
Red rum was painted on the wall.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
We waved over a guy that like patrols the trails, who like cleans the trails in one of those trucks that like grooms it. And we were like, hey, we need help. We're stranded up here. And he was like, I don't speak English. And then just kept on going. So we ended up having to slide down an entire mountain on
I
our
was gonna
butts.
say, you slid down?
We slid down a fucking mountain in the Dolomites on our butt.
And how long was that trek?
We did it, we would slide down like part of it and then stop because if you just tried to go down the whole thing, you would get going real fast. My wife was in tears. It was very traumatic for her.
Not tears of joy.
Not tears of joy, tears of we're going to die on this mountain.
I got to check this place out.
But we ended up making it down there. But yeah, the most beautiful mountain range I've ever seen.
Okay. Another one I would never have guessed. Didn't even know it. Thank you. Outdoor activity.
I really loved, I think I was probably 27, 28, and I went scuba diving in a place called Silver Springs, Florida, which sounds like it's just outside of Ocala, which is like kind of
Yeah, we've
by...
been there.
Yeah.
That was like Central Florida.
Yeah,
so,
it's Central Florida. So the reason why it's fun is because there'll be manatees in there from time to time.
so what body of water is it?
It's the spring.
It's a spring.
Oh, it's a
and-
spring.
It's a spring, but it's beautiful. Like it's
Oh.
crystal clear. The water's really cool, but you can like swim down deep and go underneath these like felled trees that have like moss and shit growing off of them. And the water's like really bright turquoise. It's a really fun experience if you like animals because you can see it like be right there by a manatee.
Phenomenal answer.
It's like
'Cause I didn't know about that either.
Wiki Watchy Springs where
Yeah,
you
that
fell
was-
in love with a
Yeah.
mermaid.
Mermaid.
Yeah, yeah.
And that water was beautiful. Did you see that one of the mermaids there recently got attacked by a fish?
They're glorified. They're indentured servants.
Yeah, they have to breathe through these tubes,
They
and they
get
do
paid
little like
shit.
mermaid shows. I don't know if this was the one in Florida, but a mermaid was doing a little show, and a giant fish
got
swims by
attacked.
and just fucking bites her head.
Oh, was it one of those
I wouldn't like
Goliath?
that.
Groupers? I don't know
Yeah.
if it was a group. No, it was like long and thin, but it just snapped on her head. She survived.
Is her head in place?
her,
Or is it missing something?
We should get her on the pod.
Getting bit in the head is a tough place.
It's a great vid. Hopefully we can throw it in here. I think we can.
But yeah, poor mermaids.
Poor mermaids. It's horrible for your lungs just to be breathing through those tubes. So they live a tough life. All right,
What's next?
I like this game.
Yeah, this is a great game.
I'm learning a lot because you have such interesting, obscure answers. Where the fuck?
I'm going to go with Disney World next.
We'll start with one city's nightlife. So, like, mine is boring. It's Las Vegas. I'm a sucker for that shit.
Yeah, and I had to go to Las Vegas for work, and I was like, oh God, I got to go to Vegas. But you were like, you know what? Vegas is cool if you give it a chance. And I did. And the word you used was splendor.
The splendor,
Yeah.
it's magnificent. I'm a sucker for that shit. I love the dinners, the atmosphere. like the grandiosity of like the buildings and
grandeur.
venues, the grandeur.
Yeah, just walking down the strip is
And the music. I like
lot
that
of fun.
electronic shit.
I'm gonna go Hong Kong though.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hong Kong. It goes all night. It's kind of like you're on like a party street in Manhattan, but it's on like a steep mountain and stuff. There's all these cool little alleyways that you walk down. You'll find like an awesome bar at the end of an alleyway with live music and people raging from all over the world. They hit a rough spot when the protests were going on, and then that led into COVID. But it's starting to come back alive, and you can surprisingly find whatever you're looking for there in terms of drugs.
Yeah. So that's
Which is
another
nice,
thing.
too.
So you're in Hong Kong, and what are you on substance wise? What are you drinking, or what's the ideal night out?
I think my parents watch this pod, so I don't know if we don't.
okay. Yeah.
We don't have to get into details. Obviously, if you've seen Hong Kong Sevens, you know I've dabbled with Molly there.
That's what I would do.
I don't think this would be the first time your parents heard you talk about drugs.
Yeah,
on
but
this
I
show.
feel like I've been talking about drugs too much on this pod.
Say hypothetically, you're a 24-year-old party monster.
Say somebody graduates from Tufts, moves to Clemson first, and then moves to Japan, moves to China. What would they do?
I don't know. You could find like a Nigerian probably selling some blow. You could, yeah. But it's just you've got like Irish pubs. You've also got crazy clubs.
Yeah.
And it's just a very cool
Bars and clubs.
environment. to
Irish
be-
club in Shanghai sounds wild.
Irish pubs? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you can find an Irish pub literally anywhere on earth. I don't think I've ever been somewhere where I haven't been able to find an Irish pub, including the trek up to Everest Base Camp.
There's we don't talk about. There's an absurd amount of Irish pubs.
Absurd.
Everywhere.
I've been to the highest Irish pub in the world. I mean, I said the Dolomites were the most beautiful mountains, but I should probably say
fuck Everest.
the Himalayas. Yeah, the Himalayas weren't too shabby themselves. But yeah, Hong Kong, great nightlife. Besides that, I mean, Shanghai in its heyday.
I've heard about
incredible nightlife. I think it's toned down a bit, but another city that goes all night and there's no open container law. Don't got to worry about that. So yeah.
Yeah.
For me, nightlife is pass. I don't like nightlife.
You're not a nightlife guy.
If I could go to a place in vacation and
date,
in
yeah.
my evening with like a nice meal that we start at like 8:39, have like 1.5 glasses too much wine, that's good for me.
Yes. And now that I have
Because I want to enjoy the day
Yeah, that's
much
where I'm
more
at
so
too
than the
now.
night.
yeah.
Was there ever a time where you were a nightlife guy?
I mean, yeah, Tokyo is an easy answer.
That's a good answer. That's
for
what I want
that.
to hear.
Like Tokyo is really fun. Just the lights that you see, like it's totally different from anywhere else. I had a really good time in Montreal. I thought Montreal was fun.
A great spot. But
Seattle, I think, is cool at night. I enjoy, like, just because of you can go out on the water. I love sitting on the water at night. So any kind of bars or restaurants that are going to be on the water, I like sitting out there.
Love that shit.
you had a rule of thumb that like nothing good happens after 12:15, or you always call it a night after 12:15?
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
at
what you
this
said?
point in my life, yeah. Like I bet I've been out of my house, not on my street, later than midnight, probably 2 or 3 times in the last 5 years. Like I never go out late.
Yeah, and I think like at your age, I'm starting to transition into that.
Okay,
Like
let's relax.
now that now that I have a kid, I think for sure I would definitely prioritize having fun during the day.
Yes,
And being
and
in bed
vacation,
by
like
midnight.
I feel like vacation, so much of that is what you're going to do, what you're going to actually see, rather than what you're going to consume. Like if I'm going to be super drunk, I think I would have a vacation that is going to revolve around nightlife, or a vacation that's going to revolve around the daytime.
Got it. So the next question would be best day life. So you get to spend a day probably in the sun.
I mean,
in
Hawaii is
one
hard
place.
to fucking beat. for
I
that.
mean, that would be my answer.
Like the North Shore, going up to the North Shore, and like Waimea Falls. Have you ever been there?
I went to the North Shore. I don't think I went to Waimea Falls.
That's where my wife asked me to marry her.
Oh my God.
We had been married for probably 8 years, and I never got the experience of her asking me to
To marry her?
To stay married?
No, I just wanted the experience of a
Oh,
proposal.
did she get on a knee?
Yeah. So I had been asking her for
Did you
years to
gasp?
find a romantic place to propose to me, so I know what it felt like
That's
too.
the spot.
And I thought it was going to happen at Epcot in front of the ball. I thought it was going to happen in New York in Times Square.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, we're walking across a beautiful bridge in Waimea Falls, and she gets down on one knee. And
Oh my God.
it was
that would
beautiful.
feel amazing.
It was, people clapped.
People saw.
Yeah, and that was probably at my fattest point, and I still got proposed to by a hot lady.
Did you have a
Felt good.
ring?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
let's
This
go.
one. She got me a
Oh,
different
nice.
ring in Hawaii.
Oh, this was like a whole thing for real.
Because I've been asking her to do it for
Dude,
years.
now I want to feel that.
Yeah,
Many men will never know.
that's exactly right.
Um,
It's overwhelming.
For me, I would maybe some towns in Croatia. You got
Oh,
beautiful coastline that you can just walk around and like find these little coves to go swimming. Touristy, I would say Dubrovnik, like one of the most beautiful cities during the day I've ever been to. It is very touristy, but like still a fun place to walk around in. You'll find a lot of bars that are kind of like right on the water, and then you can just kind of like jump off a little platform into the water, which is fantastic. Shanghai used to be great during the day too. I had a motorbike, and you just pop around to all the fun expat bars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like everybody there was just out and about and raging during the day. On the weekends.
Harry Potter World
like
at Universal
Vegas.
Studios, pretty elite.
Harry Potter World, so
I believed that.
do they?
It is good. It's
So-
Separated
'cause they
from
have-
Disney.
Yeah.
I think it could be a good time.
Because they have like their own Diagon Alley.
Oh,
Now, when you walk into the bar, I know in the Harry Potter books they drink like butterbeer,
Oh, yeah.
whatever. Is the butterbeer alcoholic there?
They have both, yeah.
Yep.
They have alcoholic butterbeer. Okay, that would be cool.
So if you want to get like a tiny, like 3% alcohol beer, but with like 90 grams of sugar, that's your spot.
The Harry
Alright.
Potter world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Hong Kong day life is great too, just because the fact you can rent junk boats. If you can find like 20 friends, everybody chips in $100. You get your own yacht of all your friends, and that yacht comes with all you can drink, all you can eat, and you just cruise out of Hong Kong Harbor and find a bay.
That harbor. That's
post
maybe
up.
my favorite urban view, like right up there with New York.
Yeah, I would agree. We'll have you back on, and we'll rank skylines around the world.
Dope.
Chicago's got to be up there
Chicago
too.
is so good.
Like from the Indiana Dunes,
was just
looking
like-
across the lake.
I've
Yeah.
never done that, but yeah, it's an amazing skyline.
Especially with the nice beaches on the lake.
Yeah, no, I think that was one of your questions. What's the best
Yeah,
place to
so
visit?
like you
from-
get a say you got a hotel
architecture
and you're
standpoint.
high up. What do you want your view to be? What's the best view you've ever had?
Ooh.
We got to shout out Chicago just because that's where we're based now. I think in the U.S., like for urban walk you can do, walking down the Riverwalk here does live up to the hype.
It beats the brakes off of San Antonio's Riverwalk.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah. That's more like
That
a
is
creek.
such a
Yeah, that thing is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
yeah. The river is nice here.
I think when you guys came, you were like, what should we do? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, go to Denny's or something.
The Riverwalk will like reel you in, and like the first hour in San Antonio is like this is awesome, and then you're like, oh, this is it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, nothing against it.
Yeah. I like San Antonio, but I'd never go back.
Yeah,
So yeah, architect. Yeah, I would say Chicago.
Chicago for out of any view.
Well,
actually,
and
give me something else because I live here. It's like
Seattle, again. Like the Space Needle is a great, like a little add-on. Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh is great.
It is
Like
cool.
I think from a baseball stadium, Pittsburgh has the best view.
Yeah.
Easily.
Think
Oh yeah, the bridge.
Like if
I
you're
agree with
behind
that.
home plate, that's the best
it is amazing.
view in baseball.
Venice from an architecture standpoint, just because it's so unique. Like
Yeah,
just
that's
walking
gotta be
around.
up there.
Yeah.
Oh, St. Petersburg, Russia.
Have you been though?
I have not been.
It does look
But that's
cool.
I think
if
like
you're-
of all the skylines buildings, that's got to be up there. I just think that those cathedrals are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of Russia, it's just kind of like communist blocks of like really drab apartment buildings and stuff. But St. Petersburg has a much more European flair to it. And then you got to say Hong Kong too, just because you can be on like a rainforest tropical mountain peak, and then you look to your right, and it's just one of the craziest skylines you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sydney with the Opera House is good too.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been down under. It does look like all those cities in Australia look beautiful.
They have underrated skylines like Melbourne,
Yeah,
Brisbane,
and like
Gold
Brisbane.
Coast.
Yeah, the Gold Coast. It's kind of like beautiful Miami-esque beaches, and then there's just like a giant skyline of
Massive
a city
skyline.
right in the middle of
Yeah.
it. We got to get down under. And then, did you have one more category for us?
I mean, we could stop there. It's been a long time.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but I got
This
thank
was
you
great.
for
Yeah,
the
that's
input.
like a lot of fun, and I feel like I could do this game like 3 times in a row and have completely different answers.
I just pitched a
It
whole
was a long
podcast.
time. Yeah. No, yeah. That's
well,
good.
yeah. We'll save
I got the
this
answers
for-
I wanted, so I appreciate it.
Okay, sweet. Thanks for coming on. And when you come back from Hawaii, do you want to come on and be our guest for a Hawaii episode?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I might not do much, but
But you're also good at like finding interesting facts about places. and
yeah,
stuff,
no,
too.
I would love to.
So we don't only have to talk about your vacation, because it
Yeah.
might just be like, oh, I sat on the beach, but we can talk about like the history of Hawaii in general too.
Yeah, Polynesian culture is so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're trying to do an episode in every spot where they've had a White Lotus season. So we've already done Thailand. Now we just got to do Hawaii and Sicily.
Sicily.
When we
that's
can
right.
hopefully have Chaps' mom on the pod, because
Yeah.
she lived
That'd
in,
be a good
in
get.
Sicily. Yeah,
That'd be a great
she's
get.
she's hard. She's a
White
very
whale.
busy
Top
woman.
3
though.
download episode ever on ZBT was my mom.
Your mother.
Okay.
I gotta do a deep dive into your mother.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the first time.
Cool.
Yeah, would.